Welcome everybody, live from the paddock. Post Las Vegas race, the Las Vegas hangover. We got one more race left in the year to do. Lot, kind of less to talk about. I always say less to talk about, which we end up having a lot to talk about. But definitely the main things we're going to talk about today is Las Vegas Grand Prix. Did it hold up to the hype? What were the good and the bad? We definitely got some bad to talk about. We got some good to talk about too, I think. And we have Amadeus next weekend.
Yep.
So we'll probably touch on fantasy a little bit because I'm sure everybody got screwed a little bit in some way or another. And we'll probably talk about a bunch of different stuff. But F1 America, Autodrome Media, brought to you by Blood Lubricants. Definitely go check them out. They have the Blood Friday sale going on. Lots of good stuff. I did talk to Jeff actually yesterday. Said the Friday sale is going great, so definitely snag some stuff there. Lots of great product at a really good price right now. So check them out. And if for some reason you missed out on the sale, shoot us a DM. We'd be happy to help a couple of you guys out.
Boom. Done. Plugged. So Las Vegas Grand Prix, it really started with some hiccups. Specifically free practice 1, destroying Carlos Sainz's car. A little manhole cover issue.
The thing looked tiny too. Like it looked like the size of a candle.
So it's like the water main one.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not like the big sewer one. It's the water one, which is smaller. So I don't know if that just because of more force and those weigh a little less. I don't know. Apparently, this isn't the first time that it's ever happened. So originally, my initial reactions were like, "Oh my god, what the fuck!" Like
Right.
all this hype and bullshit. But turns out that it's not completely uncommon, even at tracks where they race quite frequently. So just one of those issues. I think the biggest bummer was for the fans that were there. They all got sent home
Before FP2.
And then FP2 got extended, to 90 minutes, but it started at 2:30 and it ended at 4 a.m. It's just crazy to me. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, what's crazy, so my understanding is basically the force from the downforce of the car is what basically suctioned the manhole
and it's
up,
enough
right?
that it can break the welds.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Well, they're probably only like tack welded down. They're not probably like fully like welded into the ground, right?
Yeah.
Which is still which is crazy, and you obviously as a driver you're not really necessarily thinking about that, right? Because it's this tiny little thing. Like, what do you
did they not have asphalt over the top of those?
Did you see the body
It
job
looks
they
like it,
did
doesn't it?
after the fact? After the fact, they basically just put a pile of coal on top of it and hopefully it melted it down and it looked like shit. So I was like, how the hell did you guys get away with like repairing it like this? So after which was weird. I don't know why it took them so long to repair. Unless
they went through the entire track too and checked every single one of them.
Yeah, I mean, obviously bummer for Carlos, and I know a lot of people are upset that Carlos had to get taken a grid penalty for something that was definitely out of his control. I even saw, I'm pretty sure I don't know if there's a lawsuit or just
it's like a petition, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know they're asking for some financial compensation on that because I mean that's a whole car essentially that they had to go and replace.
Yeah, and that's why he got the penalty, right? Like,
yeah, because he had to replace too many parts,
and with only 2 races left, everybody's pretty much on their last engine and gearbox allocation.
Yeah, so not only is that budget, right? That's your materials and your parts budget, but then also that's just your overall like health of your business. Essentially, you just took like $1 million hit in a span of 10 minutes.
And Carlos, who would have qualified P2, right, behind Charles, now is starting 11th, right?
Yeah.
I
think he ended up 11th. Yeah, it was a bummer to see. And then the other big bummer that the catalyst to that is that, so they delayed it, right? Because I was up watching the race and watching practice. I'm like, well, this is sick. 20 minutes goes by, and then they eventually say, nope, suspended and not resuming. And we're like, well, that's lame. So I go to bed, not thinking that, I think everything's done, right? And then I wake up the next morning seeing that everybody got kicked out from the FP2. So imagine being that person. And I saw some other guy I know posted this on Facebook. He's paying, cheapest ticket was like $250 for that night, right?
For one
day that night just to watch free practice. So you spend $250, you get 10 minutes of track time, and then you get kicked out before before FP2 even starts.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it's going super late. So imagine being in the hotel trying to sleep, right? And like if you're on the outskirts of like one of the outskirt rooms on the hotel, and you're just hearing meow like all night long.
Yeah.
Which I mean, Vegas is a city that never sleeps. But yeah, I mean most people that are there aren't gonna be sleeping anyways, but it's just like kind of a shitty circumstance. And then on top of that, like they think the value that they're gonna give them is $200 worth of swag. Like, oh yeah, here's $200 worth of merch. You can maybe get like 2 items off the F1 store for that.
Yeah.
Maybe 2, maybe like 3 t-shirts by the time you're said and done. But it's like that's super shitty.
Well, and think about how many of those people are maybe they couldn't afford the Saturday qualifying. They couldn't afford the race, right?
Right.
And they just want to be part of F1 and see it. And so they're going for, Thursday night practice.
Yeah.
And yeah, you kind of get shafted, like your whole experience, it's kind of
For sure. I could see like it's a very small percentage, but I can see the small percentage of people that are like us that are just like, hey, I just want to experience something of F1.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna go a single day and I'm just gonna go check this out just so I can see what it's like. And then you get shafted. And then now you got to go home or make do with your weekend after you spent all this money on nothing essentially.
Yeah.
The problem, the only playing devil's advocate with that argument though is like nobody was there for F1. Like there's probably 10% of the people were there for F1. The rest were there to just flex and be a celebrity or just like,
but
oh yeah,
knows?
I'm at F1 partying.
350,000 in attendance over the weekend.
Was that the total?
Yeah. So
that's pretty big.
I mean, it can't be everybody flexing,
There's a lot of people.
a lot of people.
There's
flexing.
a lot of people flexing.
Yeah.
There's so many like, and I just kept seeing posts about it. It's like different celebrities and stuff there. And I already went on a rant about this in the last video that it was just a lot of
if you haven't seen the last video, we talked about all of the package prices and the outrageous prices for Vegas tickets. Be sure to check that one out.
I'm hoping this did, speaking of prices, I'm hoping this did kind of create some type of buzz. I saw a post somewhere. I don't know if it was motorsport.com or a different, or maybe it was F1 related, but they said like, should there be a cap on F1 tickets, right? And I saw some comments from people in Australia. They were like, yeah, like Australia's gone up 100% in ticket costs over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Well, so the interesting thing about this race in particular is this is the first race that F1 itself has sponsored. So typically every city that you go to, that city sponsors the F1 race. Mm-hmm. So they pay for all the marketing, they pay for all the, like, they set the ticket prices. The city does all of that.
Got it.
Where this is the first time that F1 and Liberty Media have put on their own show, basically. That's why we had over the top stuff like the intro, Super Bowl, the intro and all that stuff. Like, I mean, they spent like almost $400 million on this whole project.
I want to know then. They need to move it to a different part of it. Well, either if you're going to do this extravaganza, make it the last race of the year.
Yes.
But then we're still in the same predicament of it's going to be cold. Well, yeah, we already know who won, if it doesn't come down to a last race titled race like the 2021 championship. But so if it's already pre-wrapped up, you could still have all these extravagant events, but it's kind of anticlimactic because we still got one race to go this weekend coming up, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. I think yeah, maybe you could cut some costs there too, and maybe lower your ticket prices by not being so extravagant.
Yes, yeah.
But that is interesting though that they put it on, and with 350,000 people in attendance. I mean, they definitely made their money. They weren't hurting, that's for sure. Even though they were trying to employ people to go be fans, which I would have been fine with being a paid fan. That would have been the best case scenario for us. Right. What else was there to? So I'll stop my bashing train on it.
Yeah, I mean, so the weekend kind of started off a little rough, but
between the events,
James Bull said it a lot better than Toto Wolff did, but basically saying like, hey, judge us by the end of the weekend, not at the start of the weekend, and see if we can give you a better show and if you change your tune, kind of thing. And honestly, I thought the race was maybe the best one of the entire season.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's the starting off rough and everybody's pissed off about the theatrics. Then we transition into actually qualifying. You know, Ferrari's up there in their form, and Logan Sargent's in Q3 going, and he's in the top 5 for a while.
Well, he qualifies what, 6?
Yeah, he qualified 6 because it was like that last lap when everybody comes through and
Mhm.
they just kind of start shuffling people down, which was still legend move for him. Like
Yeah.
that was a great performance. And then
Although because he's qualified so high, fantasy was bad because he didn't make up places.
right,
But as far as Williams goes, they're really stepping it up. Alex Albon's looking good too. I did think it was interesting, like kind of coming back to what you're saying, is like Max was bashing the entire weekend, like just what a shit show it is, how awful it was, and then wins the race and he's singing Viva Las Vegas in the car.
he did say it well, and I mean, and that's what every media outlet was saying, like, oh, Max was bashing it and now he's loving it. He said, oh, he'll come back. I'm like, that was one of the quotes that Max said. He's like, oh yeah, I'd come back here. Because I think it did surprise everybody that with that new, so like the concerns we had, the new surface, the temperatures, all this created a great racing environment, which my biggest shock was that they were on hards. I didn't even think they were going to be running hard for a 50 lap race. I thought they were going to go like a soft medium or a medium soft.
Nobody even put a soft on during the race the entire time, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, and that was like a trip.
Because they're doing 5 laps in qualifying on the same softs and getting faster times.
Yeah.
So I thought for sure that soft was going to be a race tire.
Yeah. Maybe because it was, well, what time was qualifying at? Was it midnight? Or no, it was like 1. Because I remember I fell asleep and I woke up at like 1:30 and finished watching it. But so the race was a little earlier. I mean, the temperature isn't going to change from 11 to like 1 that much.
A little bit.
So I was going to say, I mean, like your temperature didn't.
The biggest one would have been
degrees, like
that free practice 2 that got pushed, like that.
Yeah, the
2 a.m. to 4 a.m.
coldest time of the night for sure. I think, yeah, everybody was really shocked on the raciness of the track. Like we kind of called it that we thought Williams was going to be really fast there because there was a lot of straights, I mean, who probably shocked me the most also was Aston Martin did seem to do well. They obviously had some struggles at the beginning of the race, but they seemed to do well in the race itself after all that was said and done. Big bummer for Lando.
Yeah. Did we see what actually happened? He
just got
unsettled or what?
I watched the replay and then somebody replied to one of my comments because I was like, okay, I was thinking 2 theories. Either his tires were too cold still and he lost the rear end. And then my other theory was, okay, he's right behind Piastri when it happens. Maybe that dirty air unsettles the car. And somebody commented in response to my comment on something else and said that I guess there's a bump in the road and it unsettled the car.
Just enough.
Yeah, and it just unsettled it a little bit. And
well, because if you combine that with like under braking and stuff, then it makes that effect a lot
worse.
Yeah. So which is interesting.
So obviously bummer that, and I didn't realize it was that bad. It's weird because there's some wrecks like you see that like don't look that bad and somebody goes to the hospital, and then there's other wrecks that are wicked and they're just walking around like normal.
Oh, good.
So
yeah, it is pretty wild.
That's the biggest weird thing
when I first saw it, like even live, I thought he just missed the apex and like nosed in.
Yeah.
And then you saw the replay and it's like, oh shit, no, he actually like spun, hit the wall and went in backwards and then flew, turned again and hit it.
Then I didn't realize there's a bridge right there that he went under.
Yeah.
So that was a trip. And
remember I was telling you, I was like,
he went under the barricade.
I couldn't see the car because the bridge actually blocked where it was in the back, but it looked like it was all the back wall from that aerial shot. And when I went and saw the replay again, it was like, oh, you went underneath that little bridge or whatever.
Yeah, and then also they obviously have the sponsor banner that runs across that, so it looks like he goes underneath the banner and whatnot, which technically he does, but not in the sense we were thinking. Yeah. So bummer for Lando. I mean, and then I'm
glad he's okay.
Yeah, glad he's okay. Everybody said he went broke by using the American healthcare system.
I saw that today. I thought that was pretty funny. They went McLaren went over budget to have to pay for Lando's hospital visit in America.
That was a good one. I mean, and that's we're not even going to talk about different healthcare systems. But not
wrong, right? Yeah.
I mean,
that was the biggest stuff. As far as just like on track racing, I think a lot of people were really concerned that the layout wasn't going to be that racy. But you look at the final lap. I mean, Checo passed, like Max passed Charles passed him back on merit like midway through the race before they pit.
Mhm.
That was really cool to see too. Just
Like the actual
see
fight.
them actually, yeah, and like that Leclerc actually made a pass on him, right? If tires would have stayed the same, if that would have been towards the end of the race, Charles would have won, right? But then for whatever reason, well, they all got like hards put on,
Right.
and then the hards favored the Red Bull more than it did.
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
Ferrari.
Ferraris obviously have bad tire degradation, but
Yeah.
the only thing I'd say is I think in that like kind of last lap do or die effort, we know Max is going to send it. Like it's been proven time and time again. And he actually at the beginning of the
Yeah, I
race when he
mean,
doesn't have to,
Well,
he
he went
sent it
into
into
the
the
side
first
of
corner.
he went into the side of yeah, he sent it in the first corner.
Yeah, which that was a
And
big wow.
that was pretty. Anyway,
Bold. It was bold.
that was bold. Gets a penalty, overcomes that, runs into the side of George Russell. Same corner wasn't
That
it?
wasn't his fault. That was George's fault.
Yeah, and
100%.
George got a penalty for it, but again, and I think even Max's radio said, I don't think he thought I was going to be there.
Yeah, I mean that's
You
probably
know,
well because
and, like-
nobody the thing they called out nobody actually made it past in that corner yet or
Yeah.
tried to. So I guess in George's defense, as much as we know, as much as I dislike George Russell, I still don't. That this
You used to
weekend's
be
not
such a George Russell
this
fan.
weekend is not helping him. He's just oh god, he's so overrated, so overrated. He's and this year has definitely shown how overrated
He's a
is.
diva.
He's a diva, and he's been driving like shit all year. Retired and fucked up my fantasy. Actually, I think I had him on fantasy this weekend.
That's
and
why he's bitter.
I think he helped me out this weekend. Actually,
They did, yeah. Mercedes did a lot better this weekend, like overall.
which I thought my fantasy did pretty good, and then in comparison to everybody else in our league, I was like 14th or something like that for the weekend. So like for the weekend, I didn't do well, but I'm still in the top 5 in our overall.
Weird
points.
because I did decent still, and Lando went out, and so I didn't have Lando, luckily, but I had McLaren, and so that hindered a lot of points. Like, pretty sure, actually, Aston Martin made a lot of points up.
Yes.
I actually was considering moving to them.
Dude, I looked at the One Shot Wonder League for the one that you could have won points in because I put a team in that, and that team did absolutely dog shit.
I did too.
But the guy that got first, he had like a 3x on Max. He had Aston Martin. He literally had like all the best people, and I'm like, how did you even think about guessing this? This makes zero sense to me. And his team was so like jacked up, and I was like, no way! Like somebody cheated. Like somebody knew this was gonna happen. That's how like
lucky, man.
Oh god, he should have played the lotto. Shit. Well, he kind of did because he's gonna get some. I'm pretty sure he gets like tickets.
It's like tickets, right?
I think first gets tickets, and then somebody else gets like I think F1 Pro TV, F1 TV for like a year. I don't know if that might be for overall series points though. So, which I know I'm not anywhere close to that, but
no, I'm leading our series.
Yeah, and too bad we didn't put any money up.
No,
you'll get
bragging rights.
We'll get you another shirt.
I get a I get. We're not we gotta say like champion or something.
Easy killer.
Yeah, I said it.
We need to do that when we got people doing a buy-in.
Well, we're gonna make you guys. We're gonna buy in next year. Then I'll probably get fucking last.
What else was crazy about? Just not Checo. What's his face? Charles. His last lap pass was pretty wicked too.
Yeah. I mean, and they were battling back and forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Max made that pass, and then Checo ended up passing him, and then he passed back, and then Checo passed back, and then he passed back again right at the end.
Which was yeah, I mean it's great to see that actual racing.
Yeah.
I did fall asleep through part of that too. But
it was late as fuck.
Yeah, I know. Everybody's like, oh yeah, now you know what it's like to wake up super early, but at the same time you don't because we used to have to stay up ungodly late to watch our own race.
Yeah, exactly. Well, although this is the third US race, so
they should have.
The other two weren't bad. What's interesting is, okay, they wanted it under the lights in Vegas.
They should have done it at like 8 o'clock. Though.
It gets fucking dark.
It gets dark at 6.
At 6. So
you
could have had an 8 o'clock race.
Watch it during dinner.
Still been under the fucking lights, and
then everybody could have just went out. By the time the race is over,
everybody's still partying.
Yeah, everybody goes out and parties because you start at 11. Obviously, the clubs are going to stay open for the after parties and whatnot. But actually, most Vegas clubs close at 4.
After party, like you get done by the time. I mean, the race was finished about 1, right? So you get all the ceremony, the awards. You can start like getting things broken down.
Was that Saturday? So I mean, I guess they could all went out and partied Sunday.
2-3 o'clock.
I'm just trying to think, like most events, that's what you do is like after the event, you go out and there's an after party. Obviously, they do their media.
Yeah, but the event's at 5 p.m. It's done.
Yeah,
Everything's done by 8.
Right. So
and then you go out.
Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to think of. Like, well, but there's also videos of them in other countries, but I don't. And always the race is on Sunday. So that's
always
what,
on
like,
Sunday, yeah.
But it's also in the middle of the day, so then they go out at night, and by the time they're done doing all their media, because they still have another like 3 or 4 hours of shit to
Interviews
do
and stuff,
after, interviews, team breakdown, debrief, and obviously they'll probably get showered and changed, which maybe they do it at the paddock. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I'm curious where they all stayed. That would have been a good thing to find out.
I think some of them have like motorhomes, RVs.
I think we're like way past. They probably have like floating houses that go with it. Like they probably have a bedroom in the paddock.
Yeah, right.
I know they have their like not dressing room, but like their prep area. Like it's like, but it has like a little cat. They have like a little. It's like a little suite. They have like a couch and like I'm pretty sure like a sink and all that in there, which is a trip.
Yeah,
which is crazy how they get that all set up like a week by week. Like this week they're tearing all that down and taking it with them to Abu Dhabi, which blows.
It
my
all
mind.
flies with them, and so yeah, it's really
and
wild.
I don't understand how that works.
Really wild.
So I mean, well-oiled machine to F1. That's probably the only thing they know how to do right is get their paddocks from point A to point B.
Yeah, I mean, even when they had issues with transport and stuff during COVID, right, in 2020, they still were able to make all that work. It's pretty impressive.
I feel like they have to have their own ship designated to F1 to do what they do. There's no way they're
I think a lot of it actually gets flown DHL.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, like on the big like military plane almost or whatever, or like a the big FedEx airplane or whatever.
Yep. And then I think inter Europe sometimes they'll send it on trains.
Oh, got it.
But yeah, it's interesting.
One thing I will touch on, and we'll do a full episode on this, but there were some sweet helmets and like just full kits.
Helmets, yeah.
I was a fan of the Ferrari look, the red and white.
Were you?
Yeah, I like the red
classic.
The red and white, just all like it was like all red or all white. There's no like extra colors. There's really good. I actually had a bike with a similar color scheme at one point, so I think that's why I liked it.
I personally like Ferrari's yellow one best.
The one with the yellow fin.
Like when they was at Monza, they did the yellow suits, like the yellow car.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah. I like their suits were red.
Their suits were pretty cool.
The Ferrari gear, like the one that Carlos wore at the golf event, the Netflix Cup, that like kit looked like super good. His sweatshirt he had on looked super sick.
I think AlphaTauri's car looked the best. Well,
dude, that
it was
Alfa Romeo.
Cool.
Alfa Romeo's looked super.
I think
gangster.
Alfa Romeo looked the best because I love that black and gold look.
Yeah.
And then they had all the cards in there. That was kind of like a black on black with gold and
like a
red.
Little bit of
it was cool. Yeah, I thought that was maybe.
I did like the AlphaTauri. Too bad obviously they didn't drive better, but the AlphaTauri livery was really good too.
Yeah.
All the helmets were sick because everybody had a little flare. Like Daniel had his normal paint scheme, but it was like extra chromed out,
super
like
chrome.
metallized and all that.
Yeah.
I didn't like the Red Bull suits. The Elvis suit.
Oh, yeah. I thought those were really funky.
Yeah, I was like,
I didn't like them either.
I don't know why everybody associates Elvis with Vegas. Like, because obviously there's all the impersonators there, but like Elvis he didn't live in Vegas.
Didn't he have a show though?
I think he
had like a standing show in Vegas.
But at that point, you might as well like Britney Spears had a show there forever. You might as well call Vegas the city of Britney Spears. Which I'd be fine with that. I'd support that 100%.
I think Elvis was like the OG, when it all started.
Fair.
Because who's the other guy? Like Frank Sinatra and stuff, right? Like he's huge there too.
I know, yeah, he is huge there too.
Yeah.
I don't know why
he had like a standing, but there's not really like that much flair.
Yeah, true. Well, and then back then,
just over the top, right?
Yeah. I was actually hot take, but I'm not a huge like Elvis fan. Like my parents listened to it. And my grandma loved Elvis, and I'm like, I'm just not like a.
For me, I'm not.
Yeah. Over it. I don't care. Elvis isn't like isn't influential enough for me. As bad as that sounds, I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate mail now. Who else had a? Ooh, actually, the Aston Martin commercial on the Sphere. Did you see that? That was sick. They were. It was during. I think it was during FP1. they like zoomed out when they were just trying to kill time, and there's the sphere pops up, and it was the same, like basically the scheme as the helmets. How was that like subtle green with the like the neon pinstriping green?
Yeah.
And then they like did flip to like the F1 car, and it like dissipated, and the new like SUV came in, and like they rotated it a little bit. It was like super sick. And when they did the Aston Martin wings, it was like super gangster.
That's cool.
Um,
I will say, when the whole hype about like Vegas making that sphere and everything, I thought it was just so ridiculous and just dumb, you know?
yeah,
But then seeing it at the race, it was pretty sick.
yeah, they've done some
It
really
was
cool
really sick.
ads and different things on the sphere.
Well,
So
and apparently you can fit like 15,000 people inside
it's a concert
the thing or
venue.
something like that. Yeah. And I've seen now like on Instagram and stuff where was it like 8K definition, like TV inside is all, and they show these huge videos and stuff.
So Raina, so the girl that does all the Monster Energy, manages all the Monster Energy girls, she was in Vegas, and Raina follows her, and she's like, look at this. And she showed me like her story of her. She was inside the sphere like while this was going on. And like if you bought sphere passes or whatever, it was kind of shitty. Like you could barely see out. Like they had like it's not like
because you're like in the
you're
sphere,
like in
right?
the sphere, and you're like you can see out, but you can barely see the track. So basically, you're inside the sphere, and you have
watching
to watch
F1 TV.
Yeah, you have to watch TV, and like it's like kind of stupid.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm like, yeah, that wasn't like,
and that was like $2,000.
Yeah, or that's what I told her. I was like, that's
Yeah.
like hanging out there or in the sphere area. It was like $2,000,
Yeah.
and I was like, holy shit, like why? Like that 2,000, you better give me like unlimited food and beverage.
I'll spend $2,000 on the fucking huge TV in my living room and sound system,
right? No,
you know,
you
and I can watch it all year long.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I don't. Note to self: don't ever buy the sphere package.
Don't get the sphere package. I thought the sphere was dope from the outside, though.
Yeah. No, the outside there's like so many sick, cool ads, and then actually during the Netflix Cup, they had like the sphere in the background, and they were putting up like a bunch of like little like there was a smiley face with like that was like watching and like looking people, around and shit. So that was like really funny and cool, and like, you could see just a bunch of different stuff going on. They did a lot of ads, obviously, for like the Netflix Cup on there, and then I think the team that won popped up on the sphere in the background too. That won the Netflix Cup.
Yeah, it's cool.
Definitely,
it won me over.
You can't. Yeah, it was kind of. I've driven by before, and I was like, oh, okay, like whatever. And then nothing that like when I was there, it was nothing like profound or anything about it. Like it was just like, oh yeah, whatever. Another billboard.
Yeah, I've only ever seen it like in the day too, I think.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, just a white ball, right?
Yeah. At night, it looks definitely way further.
Yeah.
What else?
Fantasy's wrapping up. I think I'm 70-ish points in the lead.
Don't shit the bed on the last round.
That's possible.
I feel like everybody else is pretty close. Let me look really quick on where we're at as far as points goes. I know the top 5 was pretty close, and then some people definitely want some moves over the weekend.
Yeah, some things shuffled around, which is good because I wasn't that far in the lead. I was only like, I don't know, 11 points or something. And then the guy in second is now in third, the Alaskan, who we came out of nowhere like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I finished in the One Hit Wonder League, 32,000th. It was depressing.
Yeah.
So I'm in the top 5. You're number 1. So you have 6,192. And then I'm 5,988. So that's from 1st to 5th.
Yeah.
Is only, what is that, 400 points separated technically? Right?
No.
Less than that, 300?
Because you almost have 6. Yeah. So it's like.
Yeah, I'm almost at 6.
It's about 200 points.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think I have a chance at winning unless all you guys shit the bed. But,
yeah.
I mean, the top 5, like, if you're in the top 5.
My strategy right now is to try and pick the most popular because everybody, like most people in the top, let's say 3 or 4, are all going to be picking those. So if somebody shits, then we all shit.
Right. Yeah. So you guys all go down together.
Basically, like you're in a position where you have to make some bold decisions if you're going to make up some points, and it could either pay out or it won't pay out.
Yeah, if you had Landon Norris, he got you negative 14 points this weekend.
Oh yeah, the Alaskan had him double points, so he got double the negative. It was like, I
had no negatives this weekend. I did like a good weekend.
Yeah, I don't think I had any negatives either.
I had the wrong Haas. That would have helped me a little, not much, a little bit. But who did you have this weekend? Piastri, that was a good call. I mean, you had DR too.
Yeah.
Aston Martin, that was a good call. Exactly.
Yeah, I traded my boy
Atlanta.
Lewis because I mean he did good. I think he got some good points, but I was able to then get Checo, and I switched Lando to get Alonso and Piastri.
Got it.
And actually, I mean sometimes you just make a guess really.
Right.
And it ended up paying out because it was a budget thing for me. I wanted to get a couple more top tier racers in there. Like,
I'm trying to think of what team is going to be racing next weekend because of. I think that's what it's gonna kind of.
I'm gonna say Red Bull.
Yeah, Red Bull for sure. But then like your
Red
backup
Bull.
team and then your drivers. I feel like I'm able to make 3 moves next weekend because I have cumulative transfers, right? So
Yeah.
um
It was exciting to see Ferrari do well and actually have good strategy this weekend too. Like other than Carlos just getting unlucky.
Yeah.
Which
that wasn't.
I'm kind of for Charles' sake. I'm glad it wasn't Charles because he's been feeling so unlucky. Like
he's about to
why
retire.
am I so unlucky? Yeah.
I know. So, I gotta make something known. I don't like Esteban Ocon. God, he annoys the shit out of me.
I've never really liked him,
dude. There's something
we
about
don't talk about him much, but it's probably because neither of us really like him.
How does
he's
he?
One of those
drive,
he's one of those people where it's like he's not controversial like Max.
He's controversial in the wrong ways.
Not good enough, maybe.
He's not good enough to be controversial, but he still makes controversy. Like him and Alonso all the time get together, and it's like for what?
Well, so
like get out of the way.
Yeah, Alcon's thing is like he's notorious for running into his own teammates.
Yes,
like because I mean ego, right? Like that's the only person that. Sure. If you're better than it makes sense because you have the same machinery.
Right.
And so but for whatever reason, he just cannot like allow anybody on his team to pass him or like he's always crashing him. Crashed Alonso how many times?
Yeah.
Like
he's not
he's crashed Gasly this year and
Gasly Australia. They crashed each other.
It was I think there was a couple times because I think one was more recent too.
I think I remember that too, and I can't remember what race it is. But yeah, I just like think like and I'm not for team tactics, right? And I'm all for driving hard, but at the same time, like I don't think he deserves the drive he has. I think he should be on a Haas team at best. I don't even think he deserves to be an F1. I'll go as far as to say that. Yeah. I don't think he's done anything. Everybody hypes him up like he's this great fast driver. He will not win a title. He's never going to be on a top tier team. He'll be a mid-pack guy for the rest of his life. He's like the new Latifi. I'll go as far as to say it. He's the new Latifi.
Kind of goofy. Yeah, like I don't see, which is fine, but I don't see him being like this lovable, like marketable character, and maybe he is, and we just don't see it. I don't know.
Maybe the reason I'm so amped up because you like gave a helmet to Ryan Reynolds, and I'm like, and I'm pissed off at Ryan Reynolds too. Like, why you don't need to go you own a soccer team? Like, get out of here. You don't need to invest in F1 and Patrick Mahomes. Like, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. I could go on. I got a couple rants in the back of my mind right now, but I'm not.
What about McElhenney?
Huh?
The Always Sunny in Philly actor.
Who's that?
He owns part of them too.
The guy, what, Andy Samberg? That guy?
No. Oh, McElhenney.
I don't know who that is. You gotta show me a picture.
He looks kind of like Andy Samberg.
Oh, is that,
he plays Mac.
Oh, what the fuck?
In Always Sunny.
Hold on. Hold up. Wait a minute. Always Sunny. Pause. We gotta. Be great if I can type. Philadelphia cast.
Product placement.
Yeah. Who am I looking for? This guy?
Rob McElhenney. He's part owner too now.
Well, he's a dork too. I don't even know who he is. I like this guy. This guy's funny. Charlie Day.
Charlie Day,
yeah, he's hilarious. Yeah, don't know who that is.
What I want to know is why did you pick the French team?
Yeah, why wouldn't you invest in an American team?
Why not?
Or even like the British team, like Williams. Like, is Alpine struggling that bad that they need investors? Or like
they must be. I mean, obviously, it's all about who you know, right? So I'm like, who had a connection in there? Maybe
whoever's helping their portfolio, whoever the stock guy is.
Yeah,
that's what did it. But what's just really odd to me is that NFL athletes, like half the Chiefs, basically invested in this team. Then we got all these actors investing in this team. Like, yeah, why didn't you go to any other team or any other sport? Like,
Yeah. Also, Alpine, I think, has enough money to hit the cost cap. So are they just trying to bring in better talent to make a better car?
I don't think they can afford better talent. Like, who better can they get? Like, let's be honest.
I don't know, right? Like somebody needs to step up.
You had like the best chance you're going to get. You had the guy that has the most experience of anybody in the field right now, which was Alonso. Maybe they're butthurt because of Piastri leaving them, because that's where Piastri is supposed to go, right? So it's like,
yeah,
like shit. Well, and that's on Alpine's fault for not putting a contract. You guys are stupid.
Yeah, yeah.
After the show, Alpine is public enemy number one to all F1. Trying to think who else. Williams. I'm totally cool with the Williams team.
Williams did good too.
I like Haas. They got two good-looking guys. Too fat. Like they just need to get their car a little faster. See, that's what I guess what like annoys me more. It's like you have all these American investors.
Why not support?
Like, why didn't you
Logan Sargent?
Yeah, Logan or even the Haas team. Like,
actual.
We don't have any American drivers on the team. But clearly, they're struggling.
Cadillac's coming in 26.
It's 26 or 28. I've seen like two different things now.
Well, because now Audi's coming in one of those too.
Yeah.
So, why not? You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ryan, why don't you come on the show and talk to us about it?
Yeah, give me your actual reasoning, please.
Yeah, let's talk about this
because I'm pretty sure it's poor. Your stock guy is like,
maybe go invest in our show.
Team.
Maybe you want to invest in our show.
After here's this rant, he's not going to
want. We'll be all Alpine after this weekend.
No, we're not sellouts.
I know, I'm just kidding.
I'm not sellout.
We'll give you our honest opinion,
but anything's for sale for the right price. All right, anything's for sale for the right price.
Well, you know what? If you throw some money at me, it might change my mind. Maybe I'll start to like them. Maybe I'll see your point of view.
That statement was really bad. That could have been worded way better. Throw some money at me, I'll change my mind. That's not like bribery or anything like that, you know.
It's not like I'm a government official.
We're trying to be an ethical show here. Actually, no, we're not. We're trying to be controversial.
Yeah, trying to get likes.
Shit, if that's the case, just go buy 1 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all I really have to say because I'll probably just keep doing stupid shit and that's gonna get us fired.
We're getting canceled.
Yeah.
No, I think overall my impressions of the Las Vegas Grand Prix are pretty positive. Like I said, it started off a little bit not so great, but I don't know. I think they put it on. I could do without all of the theatrics. I could do without the high ticket prices.
So that leads me to the question. Well, I got two statements to make. So the question is, was Vegas a flop or not?
I don't think
was it a yay or nay?
I think it was a yay. I think overall. I think the race was a statement. I think the time sucked. If it would have been earlier, I would have felt better for longer and not fallen asleep because I was exhausted.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things overall that could do better, but the race was fucking hands down one of the best of the season.
I think I'll say I don't think it was a yay. It didn't make me want to go to it.
Yeah.
I saw a couple of videos of people like standing next to the track and how fast obviously the cars are going by and shit like that, which any F1 race is going to be like that. But like especially Vegas, like I feel like the viewing is so hard there. It makes me not want to buy a ticket to Vegas. Like if somebody like was like, "Hey, come in, we want you to like come talk or whatever," or if I won tickets somehow, like, "Oh, you won F1 and here's tickets to whatever race you want to go to," sure, because that's the closest race to me. I will go to Vegas, but I'm not ever planning on buying tickets to Vegas.
I think, well, you got tickets to Austin next year.
Yes, I did.
I think Austin would be maybe a better
experience viewing race too. I think,
like
because it's so much larger, right? You can kind of see them coming, and even though they're doing mock Jesus by you, you can let them go by and like appreciate it. But like everything's so tight in Vegas, like you have all the ceilings in the buildings next to you, so it's
if you could go
feels faster.
If you could go to any race on the calendar tomorrow, which one would it be?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Oh, that's really hard. Probably. Can I pick the weather?
Everything being perfect.
Like perfect conditions.
Everything being perfect. The race being amazing. Like, what would you go?
Oh,
What
dude,
venue would you
that's
just anything to go to?
I want to say Spa would be up there,
Spa would be cool.
and I want to naturally say Monaco, but I don't. With the way the cars are today, I wouldn't want to go to Monaco because it'd be the only thing good about Monaco would be qualifying because they're sending it in qualifying. I don't know much about Imola, but I think that like watching it on TV, it looks cool, but I don't know if the viewing would be good there too. Trying to think where else did it go? I feel like one of the middle or no, Oz GP would be good too. I think.
Yeah.
I think one of the Middle East ones could be cool, but I don't want to go to the Middle East at all. Like if I
It's
could,
always sketch,
if I
right?
could
Yeah,
teleport into the venue,
Totally.
call it a day.
Totally.
But yeah, I'd probably say Spa, Australia, Monaco. I think was on the list just to, but like I said, I want to be. It's not
Yeah,
a great race to
Monaco
watch,
for
I don't
me,
think.
hands down, top number one ever. But it's more because of the novelty. Like I've always wanted to go to Monaco and watch F1.
I'd probably be fine with going for qualifying only and then leaving and not watching the race.
Yeah. Well,
I'd watch practice. I'd watch practice and watch qualifying.
Just go watch the race from Kimmy's yacht.
That's fine. Then yeah, so that's probably what I'd
talk about like night race. I think Abu Dhabi would be a pretty cool night race, right?
Would,
like going underneath that hotel, casino, whatever is there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that venue could be a really cool one too if you just want and it's the season finale.
Yeah, I did forget about that. Which I mean, if you could, go to 2021 and do it then, that'd be like the mega, like down to the race, everything, just watch it, just the riot outbreak.
Yeah,
be witnessing that. The other thing, did you see the clips from the Netflix Cup of Pierre Gasly smoking one into the crowd?
Oh yeah,
he's sorry. Like, yeah. And then also the other clip of Alex, he's on the hill. He goes to swing and he like loops out and he falls.
How
on
they
his face.
Pick those drivers? Why was there only 4 drivers?
I know Lando obviously golfs, so that made sense. I didn't know Albon golfed, and it didn't look like Pierre golfed, but Pierre did have 1 or 2 good shots, which I was really surprised by.
Yeah.
Alex, I wasn't sure if he golfed or not. And I know Carlos golfs. So I know Carlos and Lando
they're just kind of golfers.
They made sense. I know that's like a hobby for them.
Yeah.
But then the other 2, I don't know, like, okay, why didn't you pick K-Mag, or is there anybody else that golfs? Like, so as far as popularity, I feel like they could have picked a different driver.
Yeah, I have no opinion either way. I just thought it was interesting, like why those 4 and why only 4 or whatever.
Yeah, why wasn't it more than that? Well, I mean, probably for the sake of time. Because I mean,
maybe
Carlos and JT, the golfer Justin Thomas, like
also, I tried to watch the replay of it on Netflix.
Yeah, it was shitty.
Just the intro was so boring. I actually didn't even get to the golf because I was like, "This is boring. I don't want to sit and watch."
It was that's the theatrics of it were like super stupid.
It was just,
and then like that's when I turned it on.
Golfing. That to me is what I like.
Yeah, I turned it on and I was like, why is it taking so long for us to get to golf? Like, and then there's like a drone just flying around half the time. You're like, what is going on? It's
like 2 hours of you guys like just chatting and
and talking about celebrities. Like that's the other thing. I didn't care about
that. Interesting to me to want to watch this. I want to watch the drivers golfing.
Yeah.
And I guess I could just fast forward to that. I was like burnt out before. Yeah, like my mom was visiting and Jen, and I was just like, this is fucking boring. They're like, yeah, this is awful. They're like, turn it off, I
think the only reason I watched it is because it was like Tuesday afternoon. I had nothing else going on or whatever. And like,
and if you watch something live, you watched it live. If you watch it live, you're kind of like at the jeopardy of them, so you're like, that's what I was about. Maybe it'll get better. Yeah, maybe it'll get better.
Raina even said she's like, for something that you're not that into, you're kind of into it. I'm like, well, now that they're golfing, I'm like into it. Oh, that's what I was saying. So Justin Thomas and Carlos won their round against Ricky and Lando super fast. So they were waiting around for like an hour before they could play the final. It
was only 8 holes.
Yeah, it was 8 holes. So it's stupid.
It seems like okay, like if you really want to make it like a celebrity golf thing, extend at least do a full 9. That just seems weird to
Technically,
me.
it was 9 because it was 8, and then whoever won out of the 8 from each pairing. So
Played
there's
one more hole.
Yeah, they played one more against both groups. So whoever won Group A, which was Justin Thomas and Carlos, they went on. And then whoever won Group B, which was Tony Finau and Alex, yeah, and Alex, they moved on and said they were the final, and it was closest to the pin. And so it's technically it was like 8.5 holes because they just teed off. They didn't finish the hole. So yeah, I
I
don't
should
know.
have done 9 holes and then like a winner take all last hole.
Yeah, like if it got
Shootout or
yeah,
whatever.
or if they wanted it to be a celebrity thing, like just make it a celebrity golf with all the like with all the F1 drivers. Like, okay, everybody hangs out for 9 holes and we
Well,
shoot the
yeah.
shit and we coverage it and we just get the crazy one-liners. I don't know.
Yeah.
That would have probably been more entertaining than us like than people like trying. There's just so many people like trying so hard, and I was
Yeah.
like, how many people there were like, this is a waste of my fucking time. Or oh, I got nothing. Yeah, I have millions. I got nothing better to do. Let me just sit here and twiddle my thumbs and
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
Could have been better.
Yeah.
Could have been better.
So, yeah, I didn't even see any like crazy clips or anything. I saw that obviously Red Bull released their livery in the club on like a fucking Tuesday or Wednesday,
Yeah.
which was beyond me because no clubs are open during the week. Obviously, it's this week is a special week, but so that's what was
Yeah,
just
they have
weird.
enough money to buy
If
out
you're
whatever
if you
venue.
go to any club, if you go to Vegas during Tuesday through Thursday, clubs end on Monday or Sunday night and they start on Thursday night. So
Yeah.
on the midweek process normally isn't anything happening unless it's a special event like New Year's or something like that. So yeah, I'm curious though, like
So you think
Sunday,
it was a flop overall?
I don't want to say it was a flop, but it, like because the racing made up for it to like tenfold, but like yeah, overall, like it made me not want to go to F1 in Vegas.
Yeah.
Which was kind of weird to me. And I thought for sure, especially because it's so close, I'm like, oh yeah, it'd be easy to go to. Like unless they do like a Groupon on tickets and it's cheap. Like
Yeah, I think and in hindsight, maybe the tickets were so high because like how many fucking artists did they have? Like I watched the opening ceremony or whatever.
mm-hmm.
They had like 20 artists that did half a song.
Did they really? I saw. Yeah, I didn't even notice who did what.
Half of them I didn't even know.
I know Steve Aoki was kind of talking shit in a video, like a promo video he did. He's like, "Cool, need to do dress rehearsal for a 2-minute song that you press and play on."
Yeah, it was just kind of like over the top. I thought with like, I don't know why. It's just kind of had like this. Well, why? Like, why do this?
So
I don't know, but
maybe unpopular opinion. I mean, I feel like I haven't looked at any other. I've seen like 1 or 2 clips from other media posts like us, and they all say like, "Oh yeah, it was good, it was good, it was good." I mean, that's probably the one thing I'll keep you guys 100% straight with is like my opinion isn't like it's my opinion. Like you love Lewis. I'm not a huge fan of Lewis. He's grown on me for sure in certain situations, but it's like I'm not getting paid by anybody. I don't care. Like I'm gonna tell you what I think of, and this is why I think that.
Yeah.
Versus like other outlets, like, oh man, yeah, Vegas was the greatest thing ever. Maybe because either getting paid to do it, or because they're hoping they're gonna get some shit, or maybe just because they're blind to like. But like you said, you liked it, but I was just kind of like whatever.
I liked the race.
Yeah.
I didn't like the theatrics.
Yeah.
But we started this channel because we loved the racing.
Yes.
Like I love the Netflix series because it dramatizes a bit, but it's all about the racing. It's all about the drivers. It's all about like their lives outside.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me because I have a vested interest in the drivers.
Speaking of that,
because I love the sport.
We're gonna wait like another 2 months till it comes out.
I know.
I know. I'll see it. Because they teased a couple of clips on the Netflix on the golf thing. They teased a couple
just
clips.
Gonna be boring. Max winning every fucking race.
Yeah. Well, no, they're probably not gonna make like they'll touch on it, but they can't be the whole episode about that.
Yeah, like what race was it that Max actually like wrapped up the championship? Like Austria or something like that. Not quite, but like,
it was early.
It was early, right? So they'll probably do a Max episode then, and talk about Red Bull and them, and I'm sure we'll find some drama that happened that we didn't realize was going on.
Right. I'm thinking like I just can't.
How come they didn't get Taylor Swift?
It's probably too expensive, or Alonso scared off.
I know, right? Isn't Travis Kelce part? He's an investor, I think. Too.
I think he is.
Why didn't they want to invest in Aston Martin?
I don't know, man. I don't know. That's actually really funny. We should call him. I can probably find his phone number.
Do it.
Travis, just curious, why'd you guys pick Alpine, not Aston Martin?
Yeah.
Asking for a friend.
Don't you want to, be Alonso's boss?
I don't think it works like that, but yeah, looking forward to.
And Lawrence doesn't need anybody's charity.
No. Is he selling the team?
I think. I don't know. That was the rumor, right? That was the rumor.
I think
Lance finally drove well this weekend.
the last 2 races he's been like showing up out of nowhere, and so it's like
he's like, well, if I don't, Dad's selling the team,
which is annoying because like, why do you guys decide to get on? And the same thing for dirt bikers too, like motocross racers, like you guys will be shit. All like you get hyped up in the beginning of the year, you have like 1 or 2 good races, and you flatten out in the whole middle of the year, and then like the last 2 races of the year, you guys decide to show up, and it's like you guys needed to do this like 3 weeks ago because at least and put this string along for like a long time, because I don't get the idea of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just go all out for the last end of the season, because then like you look good at the end of the season, but then at the same time, like people have already made up their mind about you, like, oh
yeah, and most
well,
everybody
he drove good, but we're already replacing him.
Right. Most everybody is already on to the next year's car too.
Yeah,
they're already starting that design, which is interesting because then you saw Haas, right? Hulkenberg had the new one, K-Meg had the old one. I think K-Meg ended up better off, didn't he?
I think K-Mag got
in race space.
Yeah, better points and all that.
So excuse me. It's like, man, is your next year's car starting off worse than?
I did hear that Red Bull is going to be doing something different with their aero design next year. Like they're bringing, which I don't know if that I don't think they'll miss the mark that much. But
secretly handicapping them.
Maybe, but I heard that it's going to be totally different in regards to the aerodynamics.
I have a hot take.
Go for it. I always do the hot take, so about time.
I have a hot take. I was thinking about this, I don't know, a few months ago. I just didn't know when to bring it up or what. But I have like this interesting conspiracy theory about you can only break so many records before the FIA is like,
right,
nope, you can't do that anymore. Like, nope, Lewis, you can't win that championship anymore. We're gonna step in, like. So when are they gonna cut off Max and be like, nope, you can't win anymore? It's gonna be
we know the number 7 next. At least, so they can at least get
for championships.
Yeah,
for championships. But now he's breaking all the race records for single wins in a season.
Yeah, was that 20 now?
Because this is when it happened, because he broke the record by 1 win consecutive wins. And then he didn't win the next race.
Slap him on the hand and like, hey,
nope, you can't win the next one. You can only win one extra.
I don't know if it's that bad. I could see the 7 because like Schumacher's God. We can't let him.
Yeah, no. Well, and that's already controversial, right?
Yeah,
but
I don't. Yeah, that's funny. I guess we'll see. But I mean, I guess we'll also see, because what they are they at 20 wins now? Red Bull's at 20 or Max's?
Yeah, it was either 19 or 20.
So, and then let's just chalk him up for 21 next weekend. Yeah. So, unless he goes undefeated a season, which would be pretty wild. He was a full undefeated season. Like, we'll see if next year they comes out racing and like the car sucks. Because if they're trying this different aero package and it goes like it goes opposite direction, which I don't think they're going to be that far off. I mean, they have so much data and technology that I don't think it's possible. But...
Well, even look at Mercedes, like they changed everything around. And
they went ass backwards.
Even though they're still comfortably second in the championship.
Yeah.
That's another. Lewis is definitely not getting second. Checo's pretty much solidified second place.
Yeah, I think
so. Does Red Bull keep him on the team next year, or they give Danny Rick a chance?
Christian said multiple times that he has a contract for next year, regardless, and he squashed the rumors that if he doesn't finish second, they're firing him. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, but they also.
But we know Christian said some things, and then not like 2 weeks later, he's like just
then 2 weeks later he comes out and says, well, we've been in negotiation contracts with Danny to step into this seat since 2017. Actually, there's no surprise.
Did we talk about this last? Or did I read this? I think we could probably end on this note because it's pretty spicy. I guess in 2017, 2018, he got offered the same amount of money as Max.
Like as Max currently?
or is Max at the time.
Okay.
So Max at the time, I guess it was a lot of fucking money because the guy, even like when they rolled it out, the guy like the CFO or whatever, whoever the name guy that handles the money was like, why the fuck do we offer him this much money?
And he
They offered
turned it
Max
down.
when they offered Max that. So they were like, he was like, WTF, why are we giving Max this much money? And then we were about to do that for 2 drivers, like what the hell? But then yeah, he turned it down and left. And then adding to that story, I guess Daniel called Christian. It was a few years ago, it wasn't recently, but he was like, I fucked up, I'm sorry, like blah 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 blah, which would be super hard and gnarly. And Christian made comments that he had some bad influence, bad people in his head and chirping in his ear and blah 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 blah. Which I'm curious about that. Like, did he really have that much bad influence, or like, would they have kept Danny around? You know, like, or is that the story they're trying to spin to everybody?
We all watched that season. We all watched that season on Drive to Survive, right?
Yeah.
When we all fell in love with Danny Rick, and we're like, why the fuck is all this shit happening behind his back? Like, in that moment, I felt 100% that Daniel made the right call.
For sure. And I don't and I mean, I think it gives you more exposure. I mean, the only downside to this is that I feel like he definitely used up some days, some seasons that maybe if he would have stayed in a Red Bull, he could have potentially been racing for a title. Or he could have been closer to being a title contender versus like jumping around. But the positives are he got exposure, got to drive a bunch of different stuff, got to like learn so much more about him as a driver.
Yeah.
Now though, he's in his 30s. I don't know exactly how old he is. But like how much time do you have left? Like there's only so many people that can do what Vettel and Alonso have done, that drive forever.
Yeah.
And I think Lewis will probably be one of those guys that drives for a while. But on the same token, I think once Lewis realizes he's not competitive, I don't think Lewis is going to keep driving around.
Yeah, I hope that they can give him a competitive car. I'd love to see him win that 8th one that kind of slipped away, you know, and just to solidify that for him.
So I will agree with part of that statement. I'll agree. I would like to see him be battling for wins in races because I think it'll definitely make the racing way better.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him get an 8th title. But on the same token, do I want to see Max get an 8th title? I don't necessarily care about that either.
Yeah, and I don't. It's again, I've got such a biased opinion towards Lewis, so I don't really. It's hard for me to just have a say in this. But I think I definitely see like winning, like Max winning every weekend's kind of getting old, kind of boring.
No, yeah,
and maybe it's because I just don't like him. But I felt like even when Lewis was winning, races were a lot tighter. Even when, like, yes, he had those races where he was 20, 30 seconds out. Right. But it wasn't like every weekend like it is now. Like, sure, they had the fastest car in history, but Red Bull is far past, like, they're faster than every car by far in the field, you know?
I don't see the next generational talent though after those two guys. Like right now in motocross, we're watching like Jet Lawrence be like a generational talent that is dumb fast, that is just kicking everybody's ass, and you don't understand how. And like, okay, it was Lewis, and he did that to everybody in his era, and now it is Max. But like, I feel like Max has been around like a while now.
Yeah.
And so like he's kicking everybody's ass, and now it's like, okay, who's the next guy? It's not Piastri because he hasn't shown that yet. And like Lando's not going to really challenge.
But okay, here's the thing:
Max's records.
Remember that Piastri's. This is his first season. I don't think we've had a rookie do this good since Lewis.
I can tell you because I wasn't following it that close. So I mean, I
don't know where he's finishing in the championship, like because they didn't start off great.
No, right. I think he's in the top 10.
And he technically he has a race win, but it's
I don't count that sprint race as a race.
So
that doesn't count as a race
win. I don't know, like okay, you know, but does it count for like the records? That's what I'm curious.
I don't think it should count as a race win because that just got really sprints just got implemented in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't think yes, you can say it's a race win, but it's like the halftime show. It's not even, it doesn't count. It's like me winning.
It's not a GP.
Yeah. Exactly.
know,
So it's like, okay,
so-
cool. Like, don't get me wrong. Is it going to build his confidence? For sure.
Yeah.
But do I consider him a GP winner or a race winning contender? No, because there's so much. He has to go double, sometimes triple that distance of a sprint to be able to wrap up a race. Like, look at Lando. We thought 2 weeks ago Lando was going to be the guy, and he was going to finally dethrone Max. And he started or a month ago now in Texas, and he couldn't seem to like. He started. He was on pace. Everything was good, and then as soon as the halfway mark hits, he just fades.
Yeah.
And we don't, and that could be Carr, that could be him. I don't know. But Piastri hasn't been that close. And nobody's been that close. So that's not just a jab at Piastri, that's everybody. So like nobody's been close enough to keep him honest the entire race, minus Charles last year.
Yeah.
And half of those times that Charles was keeping him honest, he got shafted by his own team.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I would have been happy to see Charles win Vegas.
I wouldn't have minded that. I think and kind of going back to that generational talent comment, it's like, okay, we thought it was gonna be Charles gonna be kind of coming up and being the next guy, and he clearly hasn't done that.
Well, and I know we've talked about this before too, but like who are the drivers underneath that are coming up? Because a lot of those drivers are now reserve drivers because they're just not getting a shot in F1 because seats aren't opened up.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have Lewis not retiring, you have Alonso not retiring, you have, so.
And then look at like Cadillac and when Andretti's coming, which is 3 or 4 years still.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, who's going to drive for them? Are they going to swoop up all these reserve drivers? Are they going to come in with fresh feet? Are they going to come in with Americans? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like Liam Lawson, is he going to get a shot? I don't.
Right.
Liam was great, but I don't think he's the next generational talent either.
I think he's better than Yuki.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think he should have that seat over Yuki.
Yeah,
Maybe
I think
that's a hot take. I don't know.
I mean, there's definitely some people that'll say that's a hot take. I don't think it is. I think Yuki's kind of overrated. I think Yuki's overrated. I think Esteban's overrated. Pierre's put in his time. That's the only reason why I think Pierre's around.
I also just like Pierre.
I used to not like him.
He's kind of really. Yeah. I feel like he's just kind of one of those genuine, likable characters. He was kind of a whiny. He was kind of whiny in the first few seasons. But
I like Alex. I don't think nobody doesn't like Alex, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, everybody loves DR. You don't like DR, then you should probably stop. Out. Yeah, stop watching.
Unsubscribe.
Yeah. Watch the whole. Get the whole list unsubscribes.
There's 40 of you. I know who you are. No,
I know where you live, your address, your dog's first name, mother's maiden name. I think that's. I'll keep rambling on. I think that's all I got for the show.
I think this is biggest just updates. Look for us again next week. After this weekend's Grand Prix season finale, Abu Dhabi. We already know the winners, but it's all good.
Side bets. Anybody.
Yeah, who's gonna win the race? Who's gonna get second place?
You gotta take a sip for every lap somebody else leads the race besides Max. You could start a new drinking game. You drink cold brew. Thank you, Blood Lubricants, and thank you, fans. Thank you, everybody, for subscribing and checking it out. Really appreciate it. Hopefully, we're not boring you yet. And if you want to get on the show, shoot us a message. We'll either figure out a way to call you in or set you down.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Now that the season's kind of wrapping up, we're going to be looking for more content ideas too. Just trying to look outside the box and different stuff. I've got a few ideas up the sleeve that we'll be pulling out. But other than that, just shoot us your ideas. Always open to suggestions. Thank you guys very much. Later.